I wander through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet, marks of weakness, marks of woe.
In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the mind-forced manacles I hear.
All the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls.
But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful Harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear and blights with plagues the marriage hearse.
Trust him, gentle lady, though his voice be low and sweet. Heed not him who kneels before thee, gently pleading at thy feet. Now thy life is in its morning, cloud not this thy happy lot. Listen to the gypsy's warning, gentle lady, trust him not. Not turn so coldly from me, I would only guard thy youth from its stern and withering power. I would only tell thee truth. I would shield thee from all danger, save thee from the tempter's snare. Lady, shun that dark-eyed stranger, I have warned thee, now beware.
In which she's born. She was later to tell so many differing stories of her birth and her beginnings. For little is certain of her. Little of her life has ever been recorded, and one fact alone remembered.
That she was to die here in Spitalfields, aged 21, the night of November the 9th, 1888.
But to begin, where?
In a certain town, on a certain night, in a certain building, anciently common to all towns, great or small. In fact, a poor house.
And in this poor house was born the sad night, a tiny item of mortality, whose tale this is.
As the baby gave first proof of the free and proper action of her lungs, the pale face of a young woman was raised feebly from the pillow.
Let me see my child and die. Oh, you must not talk about dying yet.
She shook her head and reached out her hands towards the child.
The parish surgeon, who delivered such children by contract, deposited it in her arms. Let her recall Mary.
She imprinted her cold white lips passionately on its forehead and gazed wildly around, shuddered, fell back, and died.
We rubbed her breast, her hands and temple, but the blood had stopped forever.
They talked of hope and comfort. They had been strangers too long.
It's all over. You needn't mind sending to me if the child cries. It's very likely it will be troublesome. Give it some milk if it is. She was a good-looking girl too. Where did she come from?
She was brought here last night. She was found lying in the street. She had walked some distance, for her shoes were worn to pieces. Where she came from and where she was going to, nobody knows.
The old story. No wedding ring, I see. Oh, well, good night.
The child, little Mary, cried lustily.
If she could have seen into the future, known what lay ahead, perhaps she would have cried the louder.
I wander through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the mind-forged manacles I hear. How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls.
The story of little Mary Kelly. The inside of the house looked as dark as a coal pit. There was an insufferable smell of soot, and every person, everything that met the eye seemed as if it had just been steeped in Indian ink. As I opened the door, I caught the words, "I don't know what happened, any sucker! I see you bloody well dead person, you know it?" In a room no more than 12 square feet, a little heap of guttering trees not long ago candlelit gave irregular light from its drooping wick.
Where on earth have you been, Dickie?
Got anything to eat?
Don't know, your father hasn't been home for a while.
I hope he's done a click.
Don't say things like that. Always be straight and respectable. And you get on in the world?
Straight people are stupid. When I grow up, I'm gonna do the biggest clicks on the world.
And you'll be put in the biggest prison in the world for years and years?
walls were bare and discolored with damp. In the corner of the room, in a sort of recess, was the decency of an old curtain. The orphan girl was about 11 years old.
My name's Mary. I sell flowers, sir. All kinds.
Sometimes some of these girls of an immoral character, sent out by their parents to make out a livelihood.
Father won't give us no supper if we don't bring home no money. Father will give us the strap. Hard.
On the table were 2 or 3 potatoes and about 1/5 of a red herring. Got anything to eat?
Don't know, but if there's a bit of bread in the cupboard, I don't want nothing. We live on bread and weak tea and sometimes a fresh herring of the night. And I wouldn't deceive you, sir. That's all we get when we come home tired at night.
But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear and blights with plagues the marriage hearse.
London's parks. In London's parks, many introductions are made.
Do you ever go to any of the parks?
The parks? What are they?
They are large open places with green grass and tall trees where beautiful carriages drive about and people walk for pleasure and children play.
Would they let such as me go there? Just to look?
Just to look.
We estimate that there may be as many as 5,000 men and women in London employed in procuring girls for houses, and about 400 or 500 persons we call trappers employed to entrap girls from age 10 to 12 and take them by their own free will.
Please, sir, is this a park?
Not yet. Or by force to one of these houses. I've decided to take you to a garden.
What's a garden?
It belongs to a house. It is full of flowers. Be a good little girl. Close your eyes. It will be a surprise. Walking round the garden. I can tell you.
I dream sometimes, sir. Sometimes as if I'm flying.
1 step, 2 step. Here we are, at the finish.
Is the dream ended? Is this a garden?
Not quite.
What is happening to her once happened to me. I was abducted at the age of 12 into a world of men. I was stripped of my clothes
Sure.
and kept nearly naked for 14 days until it was certain my parents would never find me. I was then dragged into second-hand trappings, once the property of some wealthy lady.
Skirt.
The regular clients were notified, and wealthy customers attracted to the house.
Blouse.
My virginity was my attraction, and I remained a virgin for several years. I survived. I developed other skills. It is important for an actress to play more than one role. From the degraded to the degrader. Despite one's liberal tendencies, that's often the way. With the assistance of several influential men, I moved into management.
invitation to the finish.
Lord Asterisk, a man of 40 looking somewhat younger.
Dark hair, dark eyes, dark beard, a full face.
Finely cut features.
A personality of mark, intensely admired by the few and deeply respected by the many.
My dear Mrs. Barclay, how very kind of you to call.
Tall, rather slight.
Lips very thin and highly colored.
A line of scarlet on her pallid face.
The cruel red mouth like a venomous flower.
She looks rather like a orchid.
A mortiflower to man.
Adorable.
Detestable.
Lord Asterisk, how very kind of you to see me in such short notice.
My wife and I are always pleased to receive you.
Your wife? Ah,
Quite young, very grave and mystical. Wonderful eyes and dark brown coils of hair.
Just below the surface, a hint of insecurity.
The fear that she may fail to please, to live up to her husband's ambition.
My little daughter, Margaret.
Daddy, Daddy! Come and play in the garden.
The little mouth.
With its parted lips,
It's back like the mouth of a child.
Quite perfect.
what a charming child. Quite perfect.
Run along, Margaret, my dear. We were at school together, were we not?
Indeed, I have forgotten my school days. It seemed best. Perhaps that is why I now have a finishing academy for young ladies.
Oh, I'm sure you always got the good conduct prize.
Ah, no. Surely those must have been won by your wife. My prizes came later in life. I don't think any of them were for good conduct.
My husband is the expert on education. Perhaps I should leave you.
Stay, my dear. We have nothing to discuss that would not include you.
I come, sir, with a small gift from the young ladies of my academy. Ever appreciative of your generous patronage.
It is important that girls be taught the proper things. Wouldn't you agree?
My husband is such a brilliant man, with that fine faith in the purity and the nobility of life which is so important in this century. Untainted with foreign ideas on the subject, he is ever appreciative of the beauty of our English home life.
There's nothing like the beauty of home life, is there?
It is the mainstay of our moral system in England. Without it, we would become like our neighbors.
That would be sad, would it not?
The very center of the home is the woman. Now, I have never regarded woman as a toy. Woman is the intellectual support of man in public and private life. Without her, we should forget the true ideal. Come, my dear.
At the finish. Procurators are women who in most cases possess houses of their own where they procure girls for men. These establishments are called introducing houses and supply the young woman for the finishes.
Upon receiving a fresh female, it was the practice to send a circular to the parties who were in the habit of visiting the establishment.
The finishes are the establishments which English materialism raises to its gods.
Towards midnight, the regular clients begin to arrive. Several finishes are frequented by men in high society.
At first, the young noblemen recline on the sofas, smoking, exchanging pleasantries with the women.
Lord Asterisk, gentlemen, a mystery has arrived.
step, 2 step.
Tickle under there!
My hands upon my head I place, on my shoulders, on my face. On my hips I place them so, then bend down to touch my toe. Now I raise them up so high, make my fingers fairly fly. Now I clap them, 1, 2, 3, then I fold them silently. I'm going to build a little house with a chimney tall, a sloping roof and a garden wall.
A big front door you can open wide.
2 tiny windows you can peep inside.
I'm going to build a table big enough for 2.
2 little chairs. One for me, one for you.
Knock at the knocker and please come in.
My house is shining like a bright new pin.
5 little men standing straight.
5 little men, open the gates.
5 little men, all in the scene.
5 little men bow to the queen.
5 little men dance all day.
5 little men.
Put your finger in Foxy's hole.
Foxy's not at home.
Foxy's at the back door. I'm packing in a bomb!
The archer rises to a crescendo, and between 4 or 5 in the morning, it reaches its height.
5 heads sausages frying in a pan. All of a sudden, one went bang! 4 fat sausages frying in a pan. All of a sudden, one went bang! 2 fat sausages frying in a pan. All of a sudden, one went bang! 2 fat sausages frying in a pan. All of a sudden, one went bang! 1 fat sausage frying in a pan. All of a sudden, one went bang! And there were no sausages left.
In a finish, there's no lack of entertainment.
It's usually between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning when people leave the finish.
The servants go out to look for cabs, and anyone still on his feet gathers up his clothes and returns home.
As for the rest, the pot boys dress them, bundle them into a cab, and tell the cabman where to deliver them.
Where is Daddy? I can tie my shoelace, I can brush my hair. Where is Daddy? Here's Daddy. Daddy!
There, Margaret. It was just a dream.
A nightmare, Daddy.
There, a nightmare. Daddy's home.
Mommy's here.
Oh, it was lovely.
Oh, look here.
Round and round the garden, like a teddy bear. 1 step, 2 step. Tickle you under there. Oh yes. I hate myself. And my class. I've only led a man's life. Which of you has not? The misery I've brought upon myself and on others by this leading a man's life.
comfort. They have expectations of elegance and taste. In my house near Portland Place, I keep all my canes in water, so that they shall always remain green and supple. And I stock a great variety of instruments. Cat-o'-nine tails, leather straps, curry combs, and oxide straps studded with nails. Also simple holly and gauze. And as a seasonal touch during the summer, I keep glass and Chinese vases filled with green nettles. But the most popular by far is my Chevrolet or Barclay horse, as you shall see. Decorum is vital. Our clients have known ceremonies since the nursery. I respect and observe that routine. Form is never more important than now.
Nanny?
Yes, sir.
Nanny!
Yes, dear.
Oh, Nanny, Nanny, Nanny.
Not yet, dear. Nanny's busy.
Play with me, Nanny.
Nanny is too busy. When Nanny says no, Nanny means no. Nanny's got a bone in her leg. Nanny can't play.
Please, Nanny, please, I'll be good.
Good, better, best. Never let it rest. Till your good is better and your better best. Hands, please. Hands before play. Where are your manners? Manners maketh man. Look at those nails. In mourning for the cat, been digging potatoes, you have half the garden under your nails. What does Nanny do to dirty hands? Nanny gives spanks. Nanny gives spanks to dirty hands. If we were naughty, Nanny Spanks will have to take a trip to Pottyland. Naughty potty. For tonight, I am Nanny Spanks. Those were our forms. This then is our play.
And now, for your delight, your desire, your delirious delectation, we present, at extraordinary expense, the marvelous, magical, magnificent history of never-before-equaled equestrian daring and daring-do. Fabled, fantastical! Wait for it! Flatulatory, the untamed steed, Mazeppa, or Mrs. Barclay's horse.
Ah, what shall I, Mazeppa, Prince of Tartary, son of the mighty Khan, do now? While yet to you, a boy, a stripling merely, I've been captured by a murderous foe and set you into a cruel and lasting punishment, to be tied to the back of the wildest beast, the black horse of Tartary. And set to be loose alone into the mountains. And now presenting,
Mesdames et messieurs, pour la première fois, Marie-Jeannette Kelly. Je m'appelle Marie-Jeannette Kelly.
Enchantée, mademoiselle.
et moi je suis Mazeppa, toujours Mazeppa. For love of you I will endure the wrecks and torments of my fate.
My cruel father would part us and force me to marry another. But rather than submit, I swear that this shall find its way into my heart. Farewell.
Aha! 'Tis young Mazeppa, I'll be bound.
Oh, Nanny, 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 let me help, Nanny, please, Nanny, please.
If wishes were horses, beggars could ride. Those who ask don't get. Those who don't ask don't want. What will you give Nanny if Nanny says yes?
so trouble can break my heart.
And will Mazeppa stay in bondage forever? No. 1,000 times no. With one bound, Mazeppa frees himself. He bursts his bonds. He stands erect. And once again assumes the godlike attitude of freedom and of man. Oh, fathers, see how I'm revenged! My strength returned! My limbs are quickened by the outfire of life. See how I deck my retribution upon my enemy.
She hit me, Nanny! She's hitting me! She...
That's right, dear. Up! Everyone! And what do we say now?
Pretty Polly Dolly Mop sails on her bottom. Pretty Polly Dolly Mop. 1, 2, 3. Pretty Polly Dolly Mop. Only charge a sixpence. Poor Polly Dolly Mop. Out goes she.
Not quite 6pence, is it, dear? That's right, dear. And what do we say now? We have had such a lovely time.
Oh, Nanny, when I get big, I'm going to marry you.
Of course we play the scene with variations. Sometimes my Chevrolet or Barclay horse is an extending ladder adjustable to the client's height, propped up and comfortably padded. The client is tied so that his face is projected through one space and his genitals through another. The governess on any administers the whip from behind to his back or buttocks according to taste, while one of my younger girls sitting in front of him taking down his particulars. My Barclay horse has been most profitable, and in these past 8 years it has netted me a profit of some £10,000. A small business perhaps, but one of enormous enterprise. These are enterprising times and small businesses flourish.
I love her still, and such as I am, love indeed, in fond extreme, in good or ill, in time to heal, and time to bleed,
And still we love, even in our age, and haunted to the very age
by the vague shadow of the past.
Es ist Mazeppa to the last.
You will not see me, for I am but a shadow. I steal forth at night into the blackest, most dangerous streets, hunting, prowling, searching out the foulest kinds of iniquity. My weapon? No cudgel, no pike, no 12-inch blade, but this is the most famous, most feared book in the entire east of London. My black book, in which I enter the name or description of every person hidden in shadow or wrapped in a cloak, see entering or leaving one of those fine houses. Do not seek to look over your shoulder if it is you who enter or leave. see me. I am invisible. But I will know you, your face, your very soul will be indelibly printed on my eye.
Walk the streets, my sisters. Love is a shameful trait. Never complain though the hours be long and our work so poorly paid. Fate has decreed that we serve men's need and forfeit our worthless life. All to defend the family home and protect the virtuous wife. All to defend the family home and protect the virtuous wife. And protect the virtuous wife. And protect the virtuous wife. And protect the virtuous wife.
Life of a girl in this employ is generally 3 to 4 years. Some may last even 7 or 8. But this is a limit that few reach and fewer still exceed. So we must be constantly on the lookout for fresh candidates.
I met Miss Barkley on the streets when I was 14. She asked me home to tea. Well, why shouldn't I? I never thought nothing of it. She was wearing a beautiful purple dress. No, me dad never warned me. Oh, me mom's dead, I think. I never did know what happened to her.
They didn't bring me here to start, oh no, far too grand. They've got a branch establishment over the water where they break you in. About 3 months or so, I don't know. I don't keep much account of how time goes. It just goes.
And when I was tamed and trained, they brought me here. And I was a new virgin for a long time. Oh, they got me drunk and made me sign a paper. And they've got such power over me. Well, I don't know what they have, and they'll use it, don't you fear. But they feed me and give me clothes.
You're an inquisitive old party, aren't you? Hey, you sure you're not a copper? What else will I do with this life? Just stick to it until I'm dead and gone. But don't you preachify! I hate anyone preachifying at me. Advice to the young is important. Which to take, which not to take. Shh.
The doctor and the male patient. As a general rule, a modest woman desires no sexual gratification for herself. She submits to her husband, but only to please him. And but for the desire for babies, would far rather be relieved from his attentions. For you, sir, it is a natural urge, which must be controlled as far as possible. Sperms are a man's vital substance, a kind of energy, and if all used up, he will be unable to work to his full capacity. Once a week is the most without that. To avoid temptation with your wife, I suggest that you sleep with your hands tied behind your back. dangerous, especially when attended by love or passion. There are regrettable but necessary outlets outside the family. It was Saint Augustine who urges us to free sex from all unregulated excitement.
I see.
As I was a-walking one midsummer morning, as I was a-walking on Radcliffe Highway, who should I see but my own darling Mary, wrapped in white flannel and cold and clay. Oh Mary, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me if we took it in time? I might have bought salts and pills of white mercury, but now you're a young girl cut down in your prime.
We must go walk the streets, my sisters. Love is a shameful trade. Never complain though the hours be long and our work so poorly paid. Fate has decreed that we serve man's need and forfeit our worthless life, all to defend the family home and protect the virtuous wife. All to defend the family home and protect the virtuous wife.
Take 4 jolly fellows to carry her coffin. Death was her sentence, love was her crime. So go home to your families and think of that maiden. There was a young girl cut down in her prime.
A mother with her daughter.
After your wedding, my dear, unpleasant things will happen to you. But take no notice of them. I never did. And remember, ladies don't move. When I reached a certain age, all my mother told me was, be careful and don't put your hands into cold water. That was all I was ever taught about sex.
A child bride was seen as the highest price.
Lord Esther is once a virgin, and it is in your interest to become one. Again? Yes.
I'm 21, really. Nearly too old, but I don't do the same. Oh, I'd cut it if I got the chance, believe me. But they take care to see I don't. Oh, they watch me like hawks. It's a popular house. We get lots of visitors. Some of my particular friends come just to see me. They pay well. Very well. Not that I see any of it, but where's the odds? Where would I spend it? They wouldn't let me out. All I want, now and then, is a train of white satin.
A train of white satin? A bride's train?
You don't know? A train of white satin. You know.
Don't you? No? Well, dear, white satin is gin. Do you want to come with me? I have been known to pass for 11. Be quiet. Bleeding, although not always a sure test, has always been popular. They insist upon it. A small sponge soaked in blood and inserted is quite satisfactory and not uncomfortable. You must learn to act, however. The adoration of the bride.
This I'll be her sweet body, oh my son. Now the same heartbeat blends her gaze with mine. One parted file of silence, countersign. Her arms they open, throbbing with their throne. Confluent pulses, bearing fair and strong. Until each freighted lips expect me now. Amid the clustering hair that shines around, 5 kisses roll. Her neck 10 kisses long. Oh, lover, heaven of beauty, queer a sun. Thou shinest tonight, a white-winged moon to press. Through hidden hearts to every harsh recess. And it was serious lightning till anon of passionate change. And instant scene of dawn. Should like the tumult of this loneliness.
The degradation of the bride.
At the finish, there is no lack of entertainment. One of the favorite sports is to ply a woman with drink until she falls dead drunk upon the floor.
For it is well known that no woman who has contracted syphilis can tolerate strong drink.
Then to make her swallow a draught compounded of vinegar, mustard, and pepper.
This invariably throws the poor creature into horrible convulsions, and her spasms and contortions prove the honorable company to gain some love, infinite amusement.
Another diversion much appreciated during these fashionable gatherings is to empty the contents of the meal glass upon the women as they lie insensible on the ground.
I have seen satin dresses of no recognizable color, only a confused mass of stains, wine, brandy, beer, tea, coffee, cream, etc., daubed all over them with 1,000 fantastic shapes, the handiwork of debauchery.
The human being can sink no lower than this.
The children of these slums are so cruel. I have seen a group of them amusing themselves by the sight of the dying fits of a cat, whose eyes they had cut out, and whom they hanged by the tail. When the bleeding, tortured animal jerked with its feet to get away, they struggled it. With cruel, awful pleasure, children take invisible pain.
The doctor and a female patient. It was customary at this time for a doctor to examine a female patient in a darkened room. A companion was present, and the patient was draped in a sheet. The ultimate protection was the doctor's obligation not to expose the patient to harm.
a doctor say to a wife who has contracted syphilis and can only have contracted this disease from her husband? Intercourse must cease.
Doctor? I know there's something apart from the pain and the sores. My face! Look at my face! My husband no longer approaches me. Am I being punished for some crime I have committed? Am I not a good wife?
You are blameless.
Then why?
Let me explain. Syphilis, the harlot's curse, has almost become an epidemic among the prostitutes. Over a period of 8 years, the number of cases I treated at Guy's hospital was 2,700.
No. I must hear. I'm not a child.
These were children aged from 10 to 15, and a far greater number than those admitted were refused for want of accommodation. I've seen as many as 30 of them turned away, scarcely able to walk.
Children? But I don't understand. What had this got to do with me?
The disease, Lord Asterisk, is often apparently cured in a few weeks' time.
I am very relieved.
Years afterwards, however, it may return and bring serious complications to the man himself.
I have accepted that.
Or he may give it to his wife.
Oh God, no!
She may become an invalid or give birth to a child who becomes blind a few hours after birth. Your wife, Lord Asterisk, is 3 months pregnant. Intercourse must cease. While I was in London, a city merchant who was suffering from a bad disease imagined that he had contracted it from a prostitute acquaintance. He arranged to meet her at a house of assignation where he tied her skirts above her head so that from the waist upwards she was confined in a sort of sack. Then he beat her with a birch rod until he was worn out, and finally threw her in the street just as she was. The wretched woman was suffocating for want of air. She struggled, shouted, and rolled about in the mud, but nobody came to her aid. The poor woman, lying on the pavement, was no longer moving, and would have died had not a stranger come and cut the strings which tied her clothes. Her face was purple, and she was hardly breathing. She was asphyxiated. She was taken to the hospital where prompt treatment restored her to life.
The man was summoned before the magistrate and fined 6 shillings for offending against morality on the public highway.
The magistrate saw nothing in this act but a misdemeanor and judged it accordingly.
Why should a young girl not turn to a life of sin? The profession of the prostitute is the only career in which maximum income is paid to the newest apprentice. What can she expect to earn by the honest labor of her hands? Conceive, if you can, of an old woman, broken and dying, supporting herself and 4 children, and paying 3 shillings per week rent. Shall her child, her daughter, seeing her mother suffering, seek work in one of our mighty factories, where she will perhaps be paid 5 pence a day, enough to buy bread with for her neighbor? No, my friends, the work of the street may be hard, and the life of a whore may be brief, but she can expect at the outset to earn more in one night there than in a whole week in your sweatshop.
Don't you preachify. I hate anyone preachifying at us. We don't want your pity. We don't want pity of any kind.
Have you seen the girls in our factories? A more miserable set it would be difficult to find anywhere. Many of them have faces wise with wickedness, and eyes out of which all traces of maidenhood have vanished. The universal adjective falls from their lips as a term of endearment, whilst the foulest names are given to girls they do not like, also blows and kisses by way of emphasis.
I was going down the slum court when I saw on the pavement before me 2 children of 10 or 11 years old, endeavoring to have sexual connection on the pathway. I ran and seized the lad and put him off, but the only remark of the lad was, "Why do you take hold of me? There are a dozen of them added down there."
Most of the girls of the lowest class first have sex with boys with about 14 years old.
We estimate that 1 house in every 60 in London is a brothel, and 1 woman in every 16 is a whore.
But it's easy enough when a woman has a character to keep and plenty to eat.
But it is quite different when a young girl is starving, because if her father works at all, he is a casual laborer.
And if it's more likely he has no work, what then?
He catches, hawks, begs, gambles, fights and drinks.
Yes, and when he's drunk, does he not set sometimes upon his own children?
And do his daughters not learn from their own fathers the ways of the brothels and the street?
Before they're women, they're shrewd and sly.
Their innocence is short-lived.
They are young in years, but old and cunning, old in the ways of those women who nightly patrol the gaslit courtways.
As to servants and women of the humbler class, they are proud of having a gentleman to cover them. Such is the opinion of men in my class of life, and my experience with my family servants corroborated it. So, to get into a poor woman seems both natural and proper. It is true we find the poor in want of more adequate relief, but also they are in want of more self-reliance.
Indiscriminate charity is among the curses of London.
I would say the poor starve because of the alms they receive, but they never learn to work or to save.
The principle of our work among the poor of London is that we aim at decreasing not suffering, but sin.
The pain that belongs to winter cold is not so terrible as the drunkenness with which the summer heat fills our streets.
And the want of clothes does not so loudly call for remedy as the want of interest and culture.
It is sin, therefore, in its widest sense against which we are here to fight.
I can understand the robber who steals from travelers on the highway, the soldier who gambles daily with death, the sailor who faces the fury of the sea. For all three find a somber and terrible poetry in their calling. But I cannot understand the prostitute. To surrender all rights over herself, destroy her will and feelings, deliver her body to brutality and suffering, her soul to contempt. It is an impenetrable mystery to me. Either an appalling madness or an act so sublime my understanding cannot comprehend it. To brave death is nothing, but what sort of death faces the prostitute? She's wedded to sorrow and doomed to degradation, physical torture endlessly repeated, moral death every moment, and, worst of all, boundless self-disgust.
What strikes me as curious is the monotony of the course I've pursued towards women who were not of the gay class. It has been as similar and repetitive as fucking itself. Do all men act so? Does every man kiss, coax, hint smuttily, then talk bodily, snatch a feel, smell his fingers, assault and win, as I've done? Is every woman offended? Say no, then oh! Blush, be angry, refuse, close her thighs, after a struggle open them, and yield to her lust, as mine have done? I can never know this.
Drink to me only with thine eyes, and I will pledge with mine. Oliver is within the cup, and I'll not ask for wine. The thirst that from the soul doth rise, doth ask a drink divine. But might I of Jove's nectar sip, I would not change for thine. There is a land of pure delight, where saints immortal reign. Infinite day excludes the night, and pleasures banish pain. Their everlasting spring abides, and never withering flowers. Dead like a narrow sea divides that heavenly land from ours.
Then, for a brief moment, Mary Kelly found refuge and friendship. Woman's weakness.
Oh, lady, lady, if there were more like you, there would be fewer like me. There would.
If you are in poverty or affliction, I shall be glad to relieve you if I can. I shall indeed.
I am the infamous creature you have heard of, that lives among men, and that never, from the first moment I can recollect, have known any better life or kinder words than they have given me. So help me God, you shrink from me.
No.
You do. The poorest women fall back as I make my way along the crowded pavement.
What dreadful things are these?
Thank heaven upon your knees, dear lady, that you had friends to take care of you and to keep you in childhood, and that you were never in the midst of cold and hunger and riot and drunkenness and something worse than all, as I have been from my cradle. I may use the word, for the alien gutter were mine, as they will be my deathbed.
I pity you, Mary. It wrings my heart to hear you.
Don't pity me. I don't want your pity. Don't.
Then let me save you, yet for better things. Stay with me.
Mary.
I wish to go back.
Back? I cannot understand. There's no need.
But there is. How can I tell such things to the likes of you?
No, I must hear. I'm not a child.
Because among the men I've told you of, there is one that I cannot leave. No, not even to be saved from the life I am leading now. He is the boldest.
And he has been so cruel. No, do not turn a deaf ear to the entreaties of your own sex. The first I do believe who ever appeared to you in a voice of pity and compassion.
Lady, dear lady, you are the first to ever bless me with such words. And if I had heard them years ago, it might have turned me from leading a life of sin and sorrow. But it is too late now. It is too late.
It is never too late for repentance.
It is. I cannot leave him now.
Mary! Mary!
It was on Thursday night, November the 9th, 1888. The slow bell of the nearby church struck the hour.
Hello, where's the girl going to at this time of night?
Not far.
What answer's that? Where are you going?
I say not far.
And I say where?
I don't know where. I want a breath of air.
Put your head out the window.
There's not enough there. I want it in the street.
It was past 11 o'clock.
And the door was closed.
The day had been unfavorable, and at that hour and place there were few people stirring.
Such as there were hurried quickly past.
But one swept quietly into the night and followed her.
Stealthily.
Silently.
Desperate.
And alone.
I see her now. I should know her among 1,000.
By the light of the lamps he saw the girl's figure at some distance before him.
He advanced as near as he considered prudent, and kept on the opposite side of the road.
Better to observe her motions.
She looked round twice or thrice, and once stopped to let two men,
Who were following close behind her,
Pass on.
Saw the man, I tell you.
Short, was stout, shabby dressed.
Oh, with a billy cock hat.
I saw it was a man. Tall, he was handsome.
And wrapped in a black cloak.
Can you lend me sixpence?
My suspicions was aroused. Seen a man so well dressed. An open cloak.
A billy cock hat.
An African collar.
Dressed like that in this part of London.
I felt there was something queer about it. Well, if you can't mend it, I have to go make some money elsewhere. Good night. I'm off.
A mist hung over the river, deepening the red glare of the fires that burned upon the small craft moored off the different wharfs.
The old smoke-stained storehouses on either side rose from the dense mass of roofs and gables, and frowned upon water too black to reflect even their lumbering shapes.
The heavy bell of a nearby church told the death of another day.
Midnight had come upon the crowded city.
Midnight was upon them all. Out of the shadows, a stranger stepped forward.
Can you lend me sixpence?
He leaned forward and said something in her ear. Together, they laughed softly.
I could swear to him anywhere. My suspicions was aroused.
He had a great black coat,
Big black cloak, an African collar.
billy cock hat, broad-brimmed hat,
A white collar, a black tie, a horseshoe, tie pin.
and always but the bills for spats.
And in
sell themselves for threepence or twopence, or a loaf of stale bread.
I've lost my handkerchief.
Allow me. No light. No light.
There's light enough for what I must do.
Why do you look like that at me?
You're an impenetrable mystery. A woman without integrity or soul.
I won't scream or cry. Not once. Hear me. Tell me what I've done.
Your love belongs to him who pays for it, and you've made an auction of your heart. You've surrendered all rights over yourself, annihilated your feelings, delivered your body to brutality, and your soul to contempt.
Spare my life for the love of heaven. I will not lose my hold. You cannot throw me off.
I'm mad, feverish. My blood is on fire. There's nothing, no wind for me of which I'm not capable.
For dear God's sake, for your own, for mine, stop before you spill my blood.
I thought it was hatred which repelled me to you. It was love, unconquerable and infuriating love. Love birthed from my guilt, remorse, contempt, and shame.
I have been true to you. Upon my guilty soul I have.
I despise myself for loving you.
Let us both leave this place and far away lead better lives. Forget how we've lived except in prayers and never see each other more.
You blame your fault on chance,
On fate, on your own weakness.
It is never too late to repent, but we must have time. Little time.
You'd give yourself to me, not even ask sixpence.
but I would not behave like a scoundrel and accept your sacrifice without giving something in exchange!
May heaven bear witness that now I owe this woman nothing. As we meet tonight, may we meet no more. As we have met before, so may we never ever meet again.
As we meet tonight, we have met before. As we have met before, so may we always meet again.
She staggered and fell, nearly blinded with the blood that rained down from a deep gash in her forehead.
By raising herself with difficulty on her knees, she drew from her bosom a red handkerchief.
And holding it up in her folded hands, as high towards heaven as her feeble strength would allow,
breathed one prayer for mercy to her Maker.
Of all bad deeds that under cover of darkness had been committed within white London's bounds since night hung over it,
That was the worst. Of all the horrors that rose with an ill scent upon the morning air,
that was the foulest and most cruel.
the throat had been cut right across, nearly severing the head from the body.
the abdomen had been ripped open, both of the breasts had been cut from the body,
The nose had been cut off.
the forehead skin,
The thighs down to the feet had been stripped of flesh.
the entrails were missing, but the liver, it is said, had been placed between the feet of the victim.
The flesh of the thighs and legs, together with the breasts and nose, had been placed by the murderer on a little table.
One of the hands of the dead woman had been pushed into her stomach.
She was about 3 months pregnant.
Sixpence! Sixpence for crepe!
Something for burial, sir.
For Mary Kelly, sir!
Anything you can spare, sir. See, she don't land in a pauper's grave.
Don't rattle her bones over the stones, sir.
I've got her a pair of white stockings to lay her out in.
the hour when I might find him, rob him of expected bliss. Gentle lady, do not wonder at my words so cold and wild. Lady, in that green grave yonder lies the gypsy's only child. Lady, once there lived a maiden, pure and bright and lightly fair. But he wouldn't want her, fill a gentle heart with care. Then he needed not her weeping, nor had he her life to save. Soon she perished, now she's sleeping in the cold and silent grave.
Lady, do not heed her warning. Trust me, thou shalt find me true. Constant as the light of morning, I will ever be to you. Lady, I will not deceive thee, fill thy guileless heart with woe. Trust me, lady, and believe me, sorrow thou shalt never know.